Get ready, because here's your host, Tyson Mutrix.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Guild Live show. I've got some really interesting topics to talk about today. One was a late edition as of last night because OpenAI surprised everybody with something new. So we're going to talk about that. I've got some mindset stuff, some AI stuff, a good mix, a little bit of everything. But let's jump into today's show. And the first thing I'm going to get to is a new browser that I just talked about. It's Atlas. It's Atlas GPT, or Atlas Chat GPT is the official name. I think is what it is. It's the name is okay. It's one of those things where it is what it is. A couple things I'm going to show you with it. I played around with it last night. Compared to Perplexity's comment, to me, it's not even close. But here, I'm so new to it that I may be just missing a little something. But let's show you the video from OpenAI. Let you all just kind of see what you think when it comes to this, and then I'll show you basically it's just an X post from Liam Bowling, and he breaks down 6 different things you should know about it. And that's, to me, is probably gonna be a little bit more helpful, but let's watch this. So I think you get the gist from that, just from watching it. Now, here's what's interesting to me is, I mean, the stuff that it just showed, Gemini does that with Google. I think what they're doing is they know that they're behind when it comes to browser. They know that they need one. The like Perplexity. I'll give you a prime example. I'll just kind of give you some inside scoop information, like on the conference. I really wanted to open the conference with the Chicago Bulls theme song. We had to pay for licensing rights to all the songs whenever people have intro songs. And so we go through a company to do that. And that song was not on the list of songs. The vast majority of songs in the entire world are in this database or this catalog. That one's not one of them. So I used Perplexity's comment, and I had it in the side window. I was, asking it to help me figure out how to reach out to them directly. In that side window, I just was able to just click send right from that chat window because it had my email address and everything. That's just one small example that, like, this just looks like it's just a chat window to me. Again, I might be missing something, but I'm going to show you this post. So let's show this one to you. And like I said, this is from Liam Bowling. He says, I got Chat GPT Atlas, so you don't have to. Here's what I found interesting in 5 minutes. Agent mode is sick. It completes things like ordering coffee or filling out a TSA pre-check form on my browser with my passwords. When you background a tab with Agent, which is really amazing, they built that, it gets tripped up in content blockers. Okay. Websites like New York Times somehow blocked using Atlas to summarizing content. CNN and others work just fine. It's so native to Mac OS and is integrated with auto-filling iMessage two-factor authentication codes, which is super sick. Chrome doesn't even do this. The agent is very human-like. Example, dismissed modals by clicking out from them. Maybe it's not intentional and got lucky, ? Not sure. I love the UI, and onboarding is super slick. Very clever use of full screen usage on my Mac. The animations are amazing. So, and then so he actually does a 15-minute video some things, and
Onboarding, how it's kind of in this window. It's actually
I'll show a
secretly a
little bit
full screen
here.
app.
So I'll
So
kind of skip
this
ahead.
is why a local browser works better than anything on the cloud, in my opinion, right? Because you have access to their actual login and credentials. So I'm going to say start logged in, and let's see what happens. I wonder if it's just going to Uber Eats to find Dunkin'
So he's
Coffee.
using Uber Eats right now.
Getting a little verbose over here, but that's fine.
We're more selling Uber Eats.
I'm very curious about the fact that it can background task like that into a different tab is really yeah, whatever.
So changing the
Scrolling
color here.
tabs.
He's doing the
Oh,
summarization.
would you?
But to me, nothing super special. To me, it's not as good as Perplexity, but we'll see. My guess is it'll get better. They also they introduced the agent builder fairly recently, so that's kind of an interesting thing. That one doesn't touch N8N at all, not even close. So I mean, there's lots of things coming. Just wanted to introduce that because that was a very new thing. I wanted to make sure I shared that with everybody. All right, so let's get to our next topic, which is this is a fun one. This is repetitive marketing, and this is from Neil Patel. I figured this would be a good one to talk about here. I also got a little video clip from Neil Patel that I will share. Nope, I don't have that one. That one is in a post. Though I'll share that one with you so you can take a look. So let's take a look at this one. This is there's two things I want to show you when it comes to Neil Patel that are bonuses to what I was originally going to show you, because I was trying to find some videos of him talking about it, and it's really kind of interesting. Some of the stuff the two of the things I stumbled upon, and let's show you the video first of him talking about it. It's a long one, so I'm not going to watch the full one, but I did find it kind of. Oh, you can't see what I'm looking at. So here we go. Hold on.
How to decide, and yes, what to buy. And OpenAI just did a massive study on how people actually use ChatGPT, looking at over 1 million conversations. And here's the big takeaway. Almost 1 in 4 chats are people actively seeking information, asking for advice on what's best, how to decide, and yes, what to buy. Instead of 10 search results on Google, people now just get a couple of clear answers with sources. If your business isn't one of them, you don't even show up. In this video, I'll break down what the study found and give you the 3 steps to make sure people see your business when they ask ChatGPT. OpenAI's latest study shows how people really use ChatGPT. The biggest uses are writing help, practical advice, language translation, and one that's exploding, information seeking.
So this is something that studies specifically we've covered a little bit on the show before, so I'm not going to go into full detail, but it is a good video. It's on his X account if you want to check it out. I thought that was a really good one. There's another one before I get to the story that I want to talk about. This is one that I wanted to show to you because this is really interesting to me. And it is what happens when you stop blogging. And in his post, he says, have you thought about reducing or stopping blogging altogether? A lot of people are, because they feel it's an old game that's useless. We looked at 20 companies, 10 of which decided to stop blogging over the last 12 months, and 10 who kept on blogging. Here's what happened to the revenue and traffic from organic, including LLMs. And really interesting, SEO traffic for both went down, but it definitely went down way more for people that stopped blogging. When it comes to LLM traffic, it increased substantially. So 85.8% for those that kept blogging. Those that stopped blogging, they had an increase of 6.5%. Part of that, you can tell by part of what this is showing is that the shift from SEO traffic, like Google gets typically, to the LLMs. So that's what we're seeing, because you're seeing an increase for the people that stopped blogging. So that's sort of what we're seeing. Revenue growth, you saw a decrease of about 10% for those companies that stopped blogging, and an increase of about 9.1% for people that kept blogging, companies that kept blogging. That is an interesting stat, because that's a 19% difference. That's 19.3% difference. That's big. That's a really big difference. And so if you think that you should stop blogging, think again. That's definitely not not something you should doing. But the thing I did want to talk about today was, and the reason why I specifically chose the title of this topic, repetitive marketing. It's something that he talked about in when it comes to AI marketing agents and turning repetitive tasks, marketing tasks into revenue. And he has a really good video on this from October 14th. So you should check it out on his YouTube channel. But what it does, it talks about vibe marketing. I've talked about a little bit about vibe coding on the show. Vibe marketing, vibe coding, much of it is the same thing. And that's what that is. It's just utilizing AI to handle repetitive marketing tasks. Okay, that's all it is. That's really all it is. And the whole idea is that it's your talent. You're freeing up your talented people from doing those mundane things, the small things, to focus on more high value activities, like strategy, creativity, business growth. And it's something that we have been doing. I'll kind of give you some inside baseball when it comes to the firm. And one of the things I tested with OpenAI's agent builder yesterday was going and sourcing stories. I used it yesterday, sourcing stories for the live show. Didn't use it for today, but it was one. It was one of those things that was, I tested it out to see, how good of a job does it do. I actually did a pretty decent job. That's something that, because every week I've got to prepare a brand new show, new stories, everything that could save a ton of time, right? Something that I did for the first time this week actually was, just as my assistant, she actually put together most of the show. Out of the 5 different stories, she did picked out 4 of them. She gave me a whole list of them, but I was going to use all 5 from her, but the Atlas thing came out last night, and I said, okay, we're gonna add that to the list. But there are very basic things you can do. But when it comes to the firm, we have it doing some really cool blog posts for us. And one of the things we did is we went through all of the tort specific statutes in the state of Missouri. So we gave it the chapters, and then it went through and it decided, okay, have we done this one before? Yes or no? No. All right, we'll do a blog post about it. And I gave it a whole template that we built out for specifically to target the LLMs. That was a really interesting thing where not all the statutes, but the majority of the statutes, we're ranking in the top 3 on almost every one of those statutes. So if you Google that statute, we're popping up. That was kind of an interesting thing. Not that that's going to get us cases, but it was something we were testing out. And then this other thing I'm not going to tell you about, there's other thing that it's more advanced than this, that we're doing so that we got the proof of concept there. Now what we're doing is we're moving on to the next stage, and we're adding things that we're doing. So it is kind of an interesting thing, but these are allowing us, these are repetitive marketing tasks. And we do have humans in the loop on these. There are, I've talked about humans in the loop before. It's probably a phrase you've heard by now. You want to make sure you have a human in the loop for something like that, because we have caught errors. There are things that you're going to have where they're just errors and they have to be fixed. So that's something we've done. But the whole idea of vibe marketing, having AI do the repetitive tasks, really, really beneficial. So that is that story for this week. So let's move on to our next story, which is going to be about it's the perfect video recipe. And I thought this was an interesting one. The name of the article or the video is, if your videos get less than 500 views, do this. That's what really caught my attention. And it talks about the main reasons, and this is from Think Media. If you don't follow Think Media on YouTube, I recommend that you do. They do some really good stuff, and they are really current. They give you the most up-to-date strategies when it comes to SEO and video and everything else. So highly encourage you to check that out. But what it does, it summarizes the main reasons why smaller channels struggle to grow, and they give this 4 ingredient framework to create this perfect video recipe, is what I'll call it. And what this does, it allows you to overcome some of the challenges in that smaller growth and then increase your views. And views aren't everything. They talk about that. Views aren't everything, but it can be a big thing when you're not getting a whole lot of them. So, and they talk about the main reason why a lot of the small channels, they don't grow is really just a lack of strategy, is really what it is. Because YouTube, they require you to have success over multiple disciplines. You really have to do a lot of things really, really well. So video, the audio, the visuals that are in the videos, thumbnails, titles, there's multiple things that go into making a video successful. But so I'll just give you the recipe. Go watch the video. But so they have it broken out as the big idea, right? Of the hook. You want to get that hook. We've talked about hooks here. I know the gym we did a guild mastermind or a little workshop where Jim talked a lot about the hooks there. Jeff Hampton, we had him. He spoke at MaxLawCon. He was also on the podcast. He talked a lot about hooks. So you got the big idea, the hook, the content, and then the transition. So all of those different things. So those are that's the recipe. I don't have time to go into each one of those here. I think, speaking of the big idea, I think you get the idea with each of those. But watch that video. It's by Think Media. Really, really good. The big idea, the hook, the content, and the transition. He talks about how really small tweaks can lead to giant peaks. That's the phrase in there. Small tweaks lead to giant peaks. So that is it's a really good one. I really recommend just the channel in general. Really, really good stuff. So that is all we have when it comes to that one today. Let's get into the finding purpose, how to find direction when nothing else feels right. So I do have a little video when it comes to this. So check this one out. This is one where it's a Chris Williamson episode. It's from Modern Wisdom, and he's got Chris Brumstead, a 6-time Mr. Olympic Classic physique champion, and discusses personal challenges and strategies for finding purpose during uncertain times. So let me hit pause here, and I'm going to show you the actual. So it's this episode here. Really, really good. But I'm gonna show you a fun little video that I found of Chris Williamson.
I feel like not enough people talk about how important the role is for a man in a Dodger's life. We talk about daddy issues, but we don't talk about how important it is to avoid that.
You talk about what it is when it goes wrong, but
exactly
not how you do things to get it right.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to take so much pride in wanting my daughter to talk to me and come to me with things. Like, I don't want to teach her about sex, and I don't want to know about it, but I'd much rather her come and talk to me about things than be afraid to. I'd rather her to be safe enough to come to me to talk about boyfriends rather than, well, Dad's going to get mad if I even talk to a boy, so don't hide it from him. I want her to be like, Dad, I'm talking to this guy, blah, blah, and I want to be able to talk through it with her, not be like...
I want to be able to warn her off him immediately, and all of them, for the rest of time.
I would like to, but no, the goal would be more so to be able to hear her and feel safe to talk to me, so then I can work my way into she feels safe with me, and then my opinions are more structured. I'm still Dad, I'm still her hero. So if she feels safe to talk to me, then I have the opportunity to really give, well, here's what I think about it. And there's a much more likely that she'll listen to me if she feels safe first and heard and validated, and then understands what my opinions and boundaries are.
So the reason why I wanted to show that, I want you to get an idea as to who he is. He seems like a genuinely good person to me. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I want you to get an idea as to what I think seems to be a pretty genuine person. But it's really kind of an interesting episode because this is a person, for his profession, and really not just for his profession, but generally, by all metrics, very successful, really successful person. But he talks about feeling stuck and struggling, and um, how it can be difficult to really stay focused on values, and taking action, and turning challenges into growth. So it's a really interesting episode. I always find it really interesting to hear highly successful people talk about things like that, because it is. I mean, I know I can relate to the challenges for sure, where we hit these roadblocks and you feel stuck and you don't know where to go from there. And I think as lawyers, we all kind of kind of face that at times, especially law firm owners, where we face these times where we are really struggling with things. And where I really see it, and where I've seen it, where I've hit, all these goals, all these targets that I at some point never thought were achievable. And then you kind of go, well, what do I do from here? And I've heard it many times in masterminds where, like, oh my gosh, like, I remember, I don't know if I have permission to say this, but there was a person, one of the first masterminds I ever went to. He was afraid of losing it all, right? And he was highly successful and is highly successful, and his biggest fear was just being afraid of losing it all, because you hit this point where, like, oh my gosh, I'm at the top of this peak. Where's the next peak? What do I do? Do I go back down? I can't go back down. So what do I do here? What do I do from here? So it's a really interesting conversation about navigating uncertainty. So I thought it's a kind of an interesting one that, if you've not seen it, I recommend that you check it out. And I really like Chris Williamson. Chris Williamson's show is fantastic. So not to promote another one on another show on my show, but I'm not scared. We've got we're not competitors. He's got millions and millions of subscribers. So, but that was a really interesting one. And then the last topic we have today is Psycho Expert, and it's not really about Psycho Expert, but it is this is a Gary Vee one, and the exact AI playbook for 2026, the key to winning with AI. So here's what I got. Is this quote from it, and it's really kind of interesting. You must go all in on both, become a psycho expert on AI, and master human capabilities that are not replicable. And it's funny because this is something I've been talking about for a while, where you got to shift your firm to a customer service firm, right? You are customer service. You can't replace that. This is something that Brooks Derrick talked about at the conference about, I think he said, do what the robots can't, or something like that. That is the name of his topic. And this is one where, and I've got a couple of videos from Gary Vee, but we have to shift this focus, and we have to use the AI and become psycho experts on AI. But at the same time, you're doing that to shift the focus on customer service, so you can take those resources that you're freeing up from using the AI and shift it to taking care of your clients and taking care of your people and taking care of your referral partners. That's why you're doing it. You're not doing it to replace anybody. You're doing it to shift the focus, taking the things that the AI and the robots can do, right? You're freeing up that time, and those people now have so much more time. They're gonna be happier because they're not doing those mundane tasks. But you're using that to free up their time so they can do those things. So it's really interesting. There's a couple of videos. One is related, one's not related. But so let's listen to Gary Vee here.
You need to not overthink what your niche is. You need to post about a lot of different things. You could post about real estate. You could post about fashion, football, makeup. You could post about travel. You need to post everything. The problem is all of you are trying to figure out what to do. I'm telling you, do everything and let the information tell you what you should do. I don't want you to figure it out in your head. I want you to put out a lot of things, and then what happens will tell you where you should go. Buy anything at wholesale that has a higher retail value and go on TikTok Shop and Whatnot, the app, and sell it on live shopping. Go hard, and every single person here can make $1 million in profit a year in 24 months. And if you ask me right now, out of all the optionality in the world of how to make money in the next 5 years in America, that live shopping is at the tippy top of my list. 6 years ago, I was yelling at everybody to be on TikTok. Now everybody cries to me when they see me and be like, Gary, I should have listened to you. Now everyone's on TikTok. Now I'm yelling at you to do social shopping. Either you're gonna listen or you're gonna cry about not doing it.
So I just realized the video is going to play you. I decided not to do it. So neither one of those were related to this topic specifically, but the one I added at the end was because he had a post about, everyone in here can make $1 million kind of a thing. That was the post. That was the video. It was that video, but the post was, anyone can make $1 million, and kind of here's, you just got to do these things, yada, yada, yada. But, those were both unrelated to what I was going to talk about here. The main thing, the main point of this whole, why I even want to talk about Gary V, because I do think Gary V is one of these people that just, sometimes he just says a lot of things, right? He just happens to be on social media. He says all of those things on social media, but he is right about a lot of things. And the thing he is right about is when it comes to becoming a psycho expert in AI, so you can then focus on the human part of things, the human capabilities. And he says, squeeze this opportunity, go hard on AI and maximize non-replicable human capabilities. And I could not agree more with him that it is so important. The reason why you should go in on AI has to do with humans, and it has to do with the taking care of the humans is what it is. That's why you want to do that. I think there's a misunderstanding right now where people think, oh, AI, we're doing AI to make, we gotta focus on that. We're focused on AI, or you're focused on AI because you're wanting to replace people, and it's not as human as if we were just doing everything the old way. The old way is gone. Right. The old way is gone. And the firms that in 10 years are going to succeed and dominate are the ones that are shifting to AI now, so they can focus on the client side of things, the human side of things. That is super, super important. And I'm going to preach it every single time I do this show, because it is that freaking important. So, but that is all that I have for us this week. I'm just checking really quick to see if we have any questions in the comments so that I can address those. But have a wonderful week, everybody. I am going to start doing some solo episodes again. We're going to shift to doing that. So check those out. I don't know what the schedule will be for those. So, but stay tuned for that. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you.
Real quick, before you head out, have you checked out the Guild yet? If you've been listening to this podcast or hanging out in the Maximum Lawyer Facebook group, you've probably heard us mention it. But if you haven't taken the next step, let me tell you, you're missing the best part of this community. The Guild is where law firm owners like you go to level up. It's not just more content. It's a powerful mix of weekly live trainings, group coaching, accountability, and a tight-knit community of people who actually get what you're building. You'll be able to tap into real conversations with people who are in the trenches with you, scaling their firms, testing ideas, solving problems, and growing fast. If you're serious about building a firm that runs like a business and not just a job, this is where you want to be. Go to maxlawguild.com and take that next step. We'll see you inside.